So my name is Mrs. Jeddas. I am talking to you guys about debt today because it's something that is close to my heart, or really it's something that I love to hate. So my story is that I paid off almost $50,000 in debt over the past 13 months. This was last year. So I guess I was officially debt-free in January of this year. And it feels really, really good, which is why I'm talking to you about this today. So just a little bit of, I guess, background about debt, because a lot of people consider it to be a normal part of life and that it's not optional. And I'd just like to tell you that it is. While it's harder for some people who don't necessarily have a financial advantage starting out, it is something that you can strive to be in your life. You can strive to be debt-free, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But the average car payment in the U.S. in 2017 was $479. So I just want you to stop and let that sink in. $479 a month that you could be using for other things, for better things, for going on vacation with your friends, for improving yourself, for paying for school, for gym memberships, for really whatever you want. But instead, we're paying $479 a month on average in order to drive a shiny car. That's crazy. Also, the average student graduates with $25,000 in student loan debt, which is actually a lot smaller than I thought it was. I myself graduated with, I think I had about $9,000 because I got grants and scholarships, so that was cool. But what they don't tell you about marriage is that when you marry someone, you are also marrying their debt. So since my husband was an international student, school was a lot more expensive for him, so we actually got shackled with bigger student loans for his school. So if you have $25,000 in student loan debt, that works out to be about a $280 payment a month. So if you add up the $479 and the $280, you're looking at over $600, almost almost $800 of debt a month. So now imagine what you could do with almost $800 back in your pocket every month. So why pay off debt? I mean, $800 extra a month, first of all. It's also considered to be the fastest way to financial freedom. So people talk about financial freedom all the time. What that means to me is not thinking about where money is going to come from if an emergency happens. If I get into a car crash and I can't work for a while, I'm actually not worried about it because I have 6 months of savings in my bank account. To me, that's financial freedom. Also, you can go on vacations with your family. I mean, you can just do all of the things that you want to do without having to worry about it. But if you're paying $800 a month in debt, that money is not available to you for if something happens, right? So you get more money back in your wallet, and you can start investing faster. I know you guys are going to learn about that as well. So you'll be able to start investing more money faster, which in the long run means more compound interest, which means more money when you retire. So why pay off debt? Pretty easy, pretty easy to see all of the advantages. And unfortunately, most Americans don't think that way. So part of the reason for this big idea project is to help you guys get to a point where you will be financially free instead of shackled with a bunch of debt. So how do you pay off debt? I used a method called the debt snowball method. This was made up by a guy named Dave Ramsey. He is an amazing financial resource for you as you go forward in life. I would highly suggest reading some of his books. So I used his method. So what is the debt snowball method? First of all, you have to save up money to cover those emergencies, to cover random things that break on your car, to cover doctor's visits that you didn't expect, whatever emergencies might come up. So first thing you do before you even start paying off debt is to save up $1,000 so that you're covered if something goes wrong while you're paying off debt. Because for some people, that can be a really long journey. So depending on how much student loans you have and how much you've put on credit cards. Hopefully none. That's why we're here, right? So let's say that you've got a credit card from Costco or whatever it might be that has $2,000 on it because you took a trip because somebody was getting married and you wanted to go to their wedding, but you didn't have the money to pay for it. It's a very common thing. So let's say you've got $2,000 on that credit card, and then you've got, let's say, a car payment, and the car you owe, let's say, $10,000 on the car, and then you owe the average, let's say, $25,000 in student loan debt. And those are your 3 debts that you have. What you do is you list them out in the order that I just mentioned. So smallest balance first. So my tiny little credit card with a vacation is the thing that I'm going to pay off first. After that, I'll pay off my car, and then I'll end with the one that has the biggest balance, that $25,000. So we're not talking about how much it costs you a month, how much your minimum monthly payment is. We're talking about how much money you owe overall to each loan. So once you've listed your debts from smallest to largest, you attack the little one. So what I mean by attack is you pay minimum payments on everything else. So that car loan and the student loan get the minimum payment, which is probably like, what, $200 maybe for the car loan, and depending on how many student loans you have, well, we said $280 a month. Okay, so you pay $200 on one and $280 on the other. And then because you've got such an amazing budget, which we'll talk about in a second, every single other penny that you find in your budget, and I'm talking pennies, every single scrap of money that you can scrape together goes to that smallest debt until it's paid off. So if you think about that, you're taking all of the money that you make every month and listing it out in your budget, and then let's say you end up with $500 after all of your bills are paid. You throw all of that $500 on the smallest debt, and when we said we made up that credit card, it was $2,000 a month, so that would be 4 months, and in 4 months you will no longer have a credit card payment. So when that happens, you take the minimum payment that you were paying on that credit card and the extra $500 you found, and you throw it at the next smallest debt, which was the car loan, and then pay off the car loan as crazy, as fast as you can, as intensely as you can, and then you take the minimum payment from the car loan, from the credit card, and that extra $500 and dump all of it onto your student loan, so that by the time you get to your biggest debt, you're paying a lot of money towards that debt every month, because the more you put towards it, the faster you'll pay it off, and the faster you'll have that money to do with whatever you want to do with it. So after you pay your bills, after you pay your essentials, you take everything that's left over and throw it at debt. Now it sounds kind of miserable because you're taking all of the money that you would have spent, for me, at Chipotle and Starbucks and going out and hanging out with friends. All of that money gets pared down to almost nothing so that you can pay off your debt. But the thing that you have to do is surround yourself with like-minded people. So I had a lot of friends, a lot of teachers at this school who, when we went to hang out, I would, order a water when everybody else was getting appetizers and something to drink. And lo and behold, somebody would always offer to buy me an appetizer, to buy me whatever it was. So surround yourself with people that understand your goal and be vocal about it, because you would be overwhelmed at the amount of support you get when you tell your community, whatever it is, that you're doing this thing and that it means something to you and that it's very hard. So you have to stay motivated. So tell people what you're doing, and know why you're doing it. You're not doing it just because, well, I have to pay off my student loans and, I want more money. Have a bigger reason why. Why is it important for you to pay off debt? One day you're going to have kids and you're going to want to pay for their college and make sure that they're never in the same situation you are. The faster you get your finances together, the faster you can help somebody else with theirs, right? So it's kind of like the airplane mask thing. You can't really help anyone else, and you can't expect to build a future for you and your future family if you can't clean up your own mess, right? So know why, and make sure you keep that why in your head, because it gets hard. I also think it's really important to have like a visual tracker. So there's plenty of ways that you can do this. Some people like make paper chains, and for every $500 they pay off, they'll like take a link out of the paper chain, or you could just make one of those goal thermometers or whatever it is. Have a visual so that you know exactly how much you have left to go, because if you're talking about $25,000, that takes a while to pay off. So definitely keep yourself motivated. So as far as zero-based budgeting goes, I kind of mentioned a little bit about what that's like. But what is a zero-based budget? A zero-based budget is a plan of what every single dollar you earn is going to do for you. So a lot of people live their lives not knowing how much money they're spending, not knowing how much their groceries cost, not caring. And it's amazing what you can do when you actually plan what your money is going to do. Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, no big deal, just the writer of The Little Prince, he wrote that a goal without a plan is just a wish. So you can make a goal to get out of debt, or you can make a goal to pay for your college, or you can make a goal to buy a nicer car. But if you don't make a plan to go along with it, then it's really just a wish. You don't know when that's going to happen. So a zero-based budget is basically that plan. So how do you do it? Okay, first you list out, and I know you guys have done this, but first you list out your expected income and all of your expenses. So if I'm going to make $3,000 in a month, then I'm going to budget every single penny of those $3,000. So after you've listed out all of your bills, like your, well, no car payment because you don't have that, but gas and groceries and your rent and your insurance and all of the things that you have to pay in a month, after you list all of those out, you figure out how much money you have left. In our example earlier, it was $500. And then you budget all of that $500 towards whatever your big money goal is, like getting out of debt or saving that emergency fund up after you've gotten out of debt so that you have something to fall back on if things were to go wrong, or paying for your master's degree because you've decided to go back to school and you have to pay for a master's degree now, or whatever it is. All of the money that's left over needs to have a name to it. Otherwise, you will spend it and you will just waste it. So make sure you're budgeting every single dollar. There's an app called EveryDollar that's pretty easy to do. I know you guys are doing it on spreadsheets, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But when you grow up and you're graduating, or when you're listening to this 4 years from now, hopefully, there's an app called EveryDollar that actually is pretty simple to use. So the other thing you need to do is, for your categories like groceries and shopping or going out to restaurants or whatever it may be, take those categories out in cash. So if I know I'm going to spend $200 on groceries, I go to the bank every other week and I take out $100 for groceries for the next 2 weeks until I get paid again, and then I'll take out another $100. If you don't take out cash, then you're more likely to overspend. So whatever category it is, whatever your weakness is, if it's shoes, give yourself a shoe budget of however much a month, and then decide that that's all you're going to spend and take it out in cash. And when that cash is gone, it is gone. Gives you a little bit of control over it. If something happens, like car payments, you can make what's called a sinking fund, which is basically a fund where you would put $50 every month, even if you're not going to use the $50 every month. If you put $50 in a little envelope every month, then when something goes wrong with your car, you are much more likely to actually have money to pay for it. Or you could say, okay, I know in 3 months I need tires. Tires cost $300. I'm going to put $100 away each month for the next 3 months so that when my tires come up, I don't treat it like it's an emergency and put it on a credit card. Because the key to getting out of debt and staying out of debt is just that. Stay out of it. Plan for the big expenses so that you're not using credit cards to do stupid things like change your tires. Just like with paying off debt, it's going to get hard. So make sure you surround yourself with people who care about you. Have an accountability partner for your budgets. Make a budget meeting every single month and sit down with your accountability partner to check in with your budget, see how it went, see where you're failing, and see what you need to celebrate. Set your SMART goals, and like I said, be vocal about them. It's something to be proud about. Taking care of your finances, even if you didn't start in a good position, is something to be proud about. You're adulting on a very high level. And also, eventually, you are going to mess up. So forgive yourself. Don't just trash your budget. Forgive yourself when you mess up and figure out a way to move on from it in a responsible adult way. Hopefully this helped you guys. And yeah, there's plenty of resources out there. Just keep informed and keep motivated.